why didn't you keep the trophy? Because I'd have been like, I lost it. The Heisman Trophy is back in Reggie Bush's hands after 14 years of the Heisman Trust holding it hostage. Now, you might think the Heisman Trust, they did the right thing by Reggie Bush, giving him his Heisman Trophy back. No, they had no choice, because it was years upon years of the Heisman Trust claiming that it was up to the NCAA to vacate USC's penalties and restore his official stats before they would even consider changing their mind. But after recent events, do you think that the Heisman Trust could keep Reggie Bush out of the club without looking like hypocrites when Johnny Manziel gave up all the goods on Netflix and this year's winner, Jayden Daniels' mom, was paying for recruits to visit ASU, putting the Heisman Trust in a position to potentially have to strip 2 more trophies? No. And then they have to sit and look at pictures of the 2022 Heisman winner, Caleb Williams' lifestyle in LA penthouses. Now, there were 4 key things that happened to get us to this point of Reggie Bush getting his Heisman Trophy back. The first of which is NIL legislation that allow players to profit off their name, image, and likeness. California Senate Bill 206, aka the Fair Pay to Play Act, kicked off all of the states allowing some sort of NIL payment. The second thing that happened to get Reggie his Heisman back is we got to give a shout out to Johnny Manziel. It was one thing for him to admit in his Netflix documentary that he received a ton of impermissible benefits while he was at Texas A&M, which put him at risk to have his 2012 Heisman Trophy stripped. But Manziel went the extra mile last month and posted the following statement online. Quote, "After careful thought and consideration, I will humbly be removing myself from the Heisman Trophy ceremony until Reggie Bush gets his trophy back. Doesn't sit right with my morals and values that he can't be on that stage with us every year. Reggie Bush is the Heisman Trophy." And he's right. Now, Johnny Manziel's absence from all Heisman-related activities might not have been enough to get Reggie Bush his trophy back on its own, but the Heisman Trust couldn't take the risk that Manziel was just the first domino to drop. What if Cam Newton was next? Or God forbid, what if a potential winner refused to attend the ceremony out of protest? But let's not act like Reggie Bush was helpless and was waiting for help to come along, because he's been fighting this fight for years. And I had Reggie Bush on the Unafraid show, and we talked about the Heisman Trust invalidating his trophy, because I said there is no way in hell I would have given up this trophy. But here's what Reggie Bush had to say about it. When the whole controversy started and the Heisman Trust says, Reggie, we need your Heisman Trophy back. Why did you give the Heisman Trophy back? Because they would have had to pry that from my dead, lifeless hands, buddy.
Well, they didn't tell me we need it back. They said we're going to strip you of the Heisman Trophy. And then that's led to other events. But from the beginning, Heisman Trust said we're going to strip you of the Heisman Trophy. I ain't just volunteered to give my damn Heisman Trophy back. Who in their right mind would do that?
Yeah. So were you legally obligated to give it back?
At that point, well, I had met with the Heisman Trust with my attorney.
Yeah.
We actually went and sat with the Heisman Trust and explained to them an entire story, broke down all the facts to them, why this investigation was flawed, why a lot of the other stuff that was happening wasn't being shared and exposed, and now look what's happening. All of the facts are slowly unraveling, and now we're starting to see that this should have never happened from the beginning. And I think a big major red flag of that was the settlement of the defamation of character lawsuit against the NCAA by my running back coach at the time, Todd McNair, who took a lot of the blame, for what happened, even though he had nothing to do with anything.
Do you still physically have the trophy?
No, I don't have it. I don't have the Heisman Trophy.
So that's my question. So if they were going to strip it from you, why didn't you keep the trophy? Because I'd have been like, I lost it. I lost it. I don't know where that thing is.
Once they tell you they're going to strip you of it, it's a worthless piece of metal at that point. You know what I'm saying? Like they told you they're going to strip you of it, and You know what I'm saying? It's not, again, it wasn't that I wanted to give it back. Like,
Yeah.
I go up the stairs right now and pull out my Dope Walker award. Why didn't I get that back? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yep.
If I was just in the spirit of giving shit back,
Yeah.
why didn't I just give all of them back? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest issues, with the NCAA. They are the jury and the judge. And when you have that, it's I mean, you have these kinds of issues that continue to happen, and that's why people don't trust the NCAA.
Nope.
That's why players hate them, don't like them,
Yep.
and they do the exact opposite of what they're supposed to be doing. I mean, what they're supposed to represent, which is protecting the players and
Yep.
protecting the athletes.
The third significant event that happened was just them looking at the lifestyle of college players now, and in particular, their 2022 Heisman winner, Caleb Williams, who has multiple penthouses in LA, the same city and school as Reggie Bush. And to think that he had his Heisman taken away for something that didn't even affect what was happening on the field of play that we all saw. And these events led to Pete Thamel's reporting that Tim Tebow and a group of Heisman winners got together and decided to put this controversy to rest, that he needed to be welcomed back into the Heisman community. And I got to give a special shout out to Vince Young, Texas quarterback who was the runner-up that year, for not accepting the trophy after they took it from Reggie Bush. Because if he had accepted it, I'm not sure that there would have been a path back for Reggie Bush. Because what were they going to do? Strip it from Vince Young the same way that they stripped it from Reggie Bush? The fact of the matter is that Bush's family members accepting gifts isn't the reason why USC ran through absolutely everybody. And the Heisman Trust spending the last 14 years hiding behind the NCAA's punishment of Bush was only going to look more and more ridiculous and targeted with Johnny Manziel's public admission. And that leads us to number 4. The news that Jayden Daniels' mother, not Jayden Daniels, but his mom, was helping a bunch of assistant coaches at Arizona State essentially crowdfund a roster that would help her son have more success. You can absolutely guarantee that the Heisman Trust had to consider that upholding Reggie Bush's punishment was going to leave them open to being called hypocrites when their most recent Heisman winner also had a family member get in trouble with the NCAA. And in the same way that it had nothing to do with the eventual award-winning season that the dudes had put together. So shout out to Vince Young. Thank you to Johnny Manziel. Thank you to Jayden Daniels for bailing out while his mother was under investigation by the NCAA. And thank you to whatever social media person from the Heisman decided to tweet a tribute to O.J. Simpson. You all put the Heisman Trust in a position to need some good publicity. And now my guy, Reggie Bush, has his award back. And this is shout out to Sue Cravens, because I cannot wait to see the first Heisman House commercial with Matt Leinart, Tim Tebow, Johnny Manziel driving by Reggie Bush, whose car is broken down outside the Heisman gates, and them picking him up and welcoming him inside. Now that Reggie has his Heisman back, the NCAA is on the clock to restore USC's natty and wins.